Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. I'm also going to make some connections between BlackRock and Ripple as well. How elites will collapse America like Rome. So in a compelling episode of Impact Theory, investigative journalist Whitney Webb delves into the intricate connections between environmental organizations and Wall Street giants like BlackRock. She raises alarming concerns about the potential exploitation of financial systems, including debt-for-nature swaps, which may disguise profit-driven motives as altruistic endeavors. This article explores the complex web of financial criminality, organized crime, and the influence of elite power structures on American society. So she first talks about the role of BlackRock in economic crisis. And she's 100% on point with this because we see it every single time. If there's a crisis in the United States, right away, they rely on BlackRock or they rely on Warren Buffett or someone else. Do you ever take notice of that? And I think it's because they have ties to the elite. Whitney Webb highlights that regardless of who becomes the next president, they will face a significant U.S. government debt crisis. The response to this crisis is likely to involve BlackRock, a firm that has historically influenced economic policy during turbulent times. For instance, during COVID, the Trump administration turned to BlackRock for guidance, leading to what some researchers have termed the going direct reset. This policy allowed funds from quantitative easing to flow directly into the private sector, benefiting Wall Street rather than Main Street. Remember all that money they printed back then? Wealth transfer during crisis. The discussion revealed a troubling pattern. During economic crisis, policies designed to assist the public often result in massive wealth transfers to the elite. BlackRock's actions during COVID exemplify this trend, and they utilize government funds to buy shares in their own ETFs rather than supporting struggling communities. This raised critical questions about the accountability of financial institutions and their role in shaping fiscal policy. You know, even BlackRock getting involved with real estate, I think there should be a cap on how much real estate corporations can own. That would fix the real estate problem going forward. People go to buy a house and they're outbid by 20% because of a corporation outbidding them. And these corporations will leave these houses sit empty for long periods of time. They don't even care. But yet, at the same time, these people have to go and find a different house. It makes no sense. The threat of programmable money. Webb warns of the potential rise of programmable money, such as CBDC and stablecoins. These forms of currency could be surveilled and controlled, posing a significant threat to financial policy and individual freedom. The conversation emphasizes the need for vigilance and awareness regarding the implications of these developments. And BlackRock is also pushing for CBDC as well. Political parties and Wall Street insiders, both major parties, have increasingly relied on Wall Street insiders to guide their economic policy. Webb points out that Kamala Harris' economic team is largely composed of former BlackRock executives, mirroring the trends seen during the Biden administration. This revolving door between Wall Street and government raises concerns about whose interests are truly being served. Think about it like this. What are they trying to do? They're trying to crush out the middle class. And the economic policy that Biden had pushed us deeper into inflation. And people ended up even deeper in debt because of it. The importance of community resilience. In the light of these challenges, Whitney Webb advocates for greater individual and community resilience. She emphasized the need for self-reliance and local organization as antidotes to the increasing centralization of power. By fostering strong communities, individuals can better navigate the complexities of the modern world and resist the encroachment of elite control. You know, if you think about it, what else did they do? They divided everyone. BlackRock is at the heart of the division inside the United States. They have a controlling interest in both CNN and Fox News. And if people could come together, they could fight back against this, but people are way too divided for that now. BlackRock influence deepens as Kamala Harris taps former executives. She actually doubled down on this. And, you know, we see it. And our government always turns to BlackRock in a time of crisis. We see it time and time again. And you know what? It's like history repeats itself. We have a crisis. They turn to BlackRock. All of a sudden, there's a quick fix. Then we push forward and another crisis happens. They turn to BlackRock again. And if it's not BlackRock, it's always Warren Buffett as well for some reason. BlackRock CEO tells World Economic Forum attendees that countries will benefit from depopulation. I could argue in the developing countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. In short, he says we should embrace rapid unemployment due to increased robotics and AI as well. But yet all these people that are invested in Bitcoin, they see BlackRock as their friend. BlackRock is here for Bitcoin and they absolutely love Bitcoin. Then Larry Fink goes on to shill Bitcoin. Why? Because they want all these new investors getting into Bitcoin. And I think it's because they know that Bitcoin at some point is not going to be part of the future financial system. But everything is owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, on and on. But they are all controlled by the Democratic Party global elites. I think there's global elites on both parties, both Republican and Democrat. You know, politicians are our enemy. They're not our friends either. You know, because they get into Washington and you hope for the best, but you always expect the worst to happen. And if you don't have the House, the Senate, and the presidency for 4 years, nothing gets done. You have to have one party win all three. You have to win all three, or you're screwed for 4 years. And I see that happening again, even in this upcoming election, unless some big landslide happens. And this monopoly must be destroyed or America will be destroyed. So how do you think BlackRock got control in all of these companies? 11 companies that own everything and the stake in those companies held by BlackRock. Look at the stake in all of these companies. And yet people still don't realize that BlackRock is a shell company for the elites. That's what I see. And then when it comes to the XRP ETF, take a listen to what Larry Fink says here.
Advent of Bitcoin ETFs is an example that we're legitimizing it. We're creating more safety.
Well, let me ask you this. Will you do another ETF? How about an XRP ETF? I know you got Ether out there. How about XRP? Can you answer that?
I can't. And you don't want me to.
Why can't he talk about an XRP ETF? I think it's because Larry Fink knows that XRP is built for something else. I think he knows Ripple is going to play a major role in not only tokenization, but inside the new financial system. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink stated that all Bitcoin ETFs are merely stepping stones on the path to tokenization. Ripple CTO David Schwartz outlined that tokenization will serve as one of the cornerstones for the XRP ledger and predicts it will evolve into a $1 trillion market. Take a listen.
I'm hoping that we're going to see, as real-world asset tokenization projects grow, I think the XRP ledger is going to be a really good platform for them to launch on, particularly because of the low fees and because of the integration with the DEX, with the proximity to sort of the movement of funds. The ability, if someone's going to buy What do you want to do with a real world tokenized asset? You want to buy it, you want to sell it, you want to hold it, you want to transfer it. And if you want to buy it and sell it, you want to be able to do that with whatever asset is convenient for you. You don't want to tie, if you tokenize some sort of debt, like you don't want to tie it to US dollars because then that limits access to it to people who have sort of proximity to US dollars. One of the things the XRP ledger is good for is giving you sort of proximity to many different assets, and that exchange is seamlessly built in. So I think that's one of the many reasons why the XRP ledger is going to be a good place to launch tokenized real world assets. I think we'll see that in the next year, year and a half.
Take notice, he also said we'll see that in the next year, year and a half. And that was back in January of this year. So he's predicting this to happen in 2025. And I think BlackRock is already planning to bring a lot of real world assets to the XRP ledger. BlackRock just shared some serious intel. If you're in the know on tokenization and DLT, the real game changers in this shift, if RippleNet is the backbone for this seamless, scalable, interoperable system, then a Bitcoin ETF would have to lay on that very foundation. I think he's going to bring those Bitcoin ETFs to the XRP ledger. That's probably the path forward for BlackRock. And then you hear Brad Garlinghouse give a shout out to Larry Fink. Take a listen.
About the tokenization of different asset classes. I mean, now you have the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink. They have $10 trillion of assets under management. He's one of the biggest advocates out there for crypto at large. He's made some really powerful comments that I think really speak to, and he used to be a naysayer and very dubious. And I think as he learned, he was like, oh wait, these technologies really can be used for real utility.
So who do you think Larry Fink got his information from? And do you think that Ripple and BlackRock are tied together more than we know? Because you got to remember, Brad Garlinghouse also tied to the World Economic Forum. Larry Fink tied to the World Economic Forum. Their agendas are identical practically. Brad wants to make XRP a world's reserve currency. Larry Fink is pushing for a one world currency. So I don't think they're too far off from each other. And even here he says, no matter how much we tax, how much we cut or reduce that debt, it will not be enough. This is why building new infrastructure is critical. XRP has already been successfully tested worldwide for cross-border settlements, and the SEC versus Ripple case will end soon. Now, I think the Ripple versus SEC case was just to slow Ripple down. But when Larry Fink is talking about building a new infrastructure for the entire planet, he knows that RippleNet already has rails put in place all around the world. There's no way possible that Larry does not know that Ripple is set to move the world's money, because Ripple has ties to the BIS, to the UN, World Economic Forum, IMF. You think BlackRock doesn't know who Ripple is? I mean, come on. Then there's Franklin Templeton, SBI Holdings, Ripple's banking giant partner. SBI is joining Franklin Templeton in creating an investment company with a focus on digital assets. Franklin Templeton is also bringing Bitcoin ETFs to Stellar. That's what's going to happen there. They're going to tokenize all their Bitcoin ETFs, most likely on Stellar. But they also know a new financial system is coming. Take a listen.
Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is coming to financial services.
So she has a Bitcoin ETF, yet she knows that Bitcoin is nothing but a major distraction. And that's what everybody's looking at. Think about it. You have Michael Saylor out there pushing Bitcoin. You have BlackRock pushing Bitcoin. Mainstream media news, also owned by BlackRock, pushing Bitcoin. They're not pushing XRP. They're not pushing XLM. They're not pushing any of these ISO cryptocurrencies. So when you have the Franklin Templeton CEO telling you that Bitcoin is nothing but a distraction and we're holding the disruption that's coming to the financial service or to the new financial system, you need to pay attention. You need to shift your money away from Bitcoin. Because honestly, I think at some point BlackRock needs to fall so the elites can then pull their money out of BlackRock and transfer it into the new digital financial system. I think that's the end game. Ice9, banking system freeze confirmed. Clive Thompson, retired wealth manager in Switzerland. This guy is most likely another messenger for the elites. Take a listen to what he says here.
I think it's quite likely that the CBDC will arrive, and it will also be the subject of the currency reset at the same time. At some point, the world is going to go into a crisis, or a country is going to go into a crisis. It might be the UK, it might be Italy, might even be the United States, but something is going to happen. Things are very, very taut in the financial world at the moment. When that happens, I think they will close the banks. You'll wake up on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning and hear the news that they've shut the banks, they're not going to open on Monday. And then by Monday evening or Tuesday, you'll get the announcement that we're having a new currency, the CBDC, and don't worry, it'll be 1-to-1 against the old currency. But there'll be some restrictions on your ability to convert your old money into the new money. So if you're poor and you have a small bank account, it'll be converted 1-to-1 straight away. And you'll probably even find that you get a free gift from the government to kickstart the system. Maybe £3,000 or £5,000 will be given to every citizen gratuitously to kickstart the system in the new CBDC. But if you have 100,000 or $1 million in the bank, you're going to be told, yes, it's 1-to-1, but you're going to have to wait to convert it to the new currency. Now, wait means never. We all know that, but they won't tell you that. They'll say it's a temporary suspension because we're in the middle of a crisis. The people are rioting in the streets, and we need to calm the system. So here's some free money, everybody. Go and enjoy yourselves. And by the way, the rich can't convert their money for a while, but they'll be able to do so later. So if you happen to own Apple bonds, they'll be denominated in the old dollars. You won't be able to, it'll still be old dollars. You won't be able to convert those old dollars until you've got the cash. But when you get the cash, you'll need permission to do it. And you're not going to get that permission. It'll be exactly like we had in Britain back before 1975, when we had the exchange controls. You needed permission from the Bank of England. I mean, I remember when I traveled abroad the first time, I was allowed to take £50 with me abroad.
So think about that. What he just said. They're going to freeze the system. Maybe it happens on a Sunday. You're told the banks aren't going to open their doors tomorrow. And they're going to swallow all of your money. Because take notice how he said you're going to have to wait. And anybody that has large sums of money in the bank, their wealth is gone. It's just going to disappear like that, like an overnight event. And this is why I showed you in that video yesterday that there's going to be a parallel system from a CBDC where your transactions aren't tracked by the government. But that system, I think, is going to run on crypto. And I think a lot of these rich people are going to be holding crypto, like the elites will be running on the crypto system. We were just smart enough, or maybe lucky enough, to realize that XRP is the future. And we bought it. We most likely were never supposed to be holding this cryptocurrency, but here we are holding it. But most people will sell way too soon anyway, and I'm sure they're already banking on that. But anybody that holds into the future will become part of the new 1%. That's what I see as the end game here. Why would they create a system that you could use where your transactions aren't tracked and they call it a token-based system? I think it's a crypto-based system. But I also think he's on point with this because he's not the only one saying this. Whitney Webb is saying this. Jim Rickards is saying this. This guy's saying it. I could probably find 20 or 30 other people that are saying the same thing. But do you ever take notice? They're wealth managers. Maybe they're part of the CIA or the NSA. Maybe they have ties to the government. But they're warning you now of what's coming next. And the World Economic Forum has been saying this for a while now. So World Economic Forum suggests potential banking system shutdown. What if extreme weather froze your bank account? They've been giving us the warnings. It's time to either pay attention and prepare for this, or you will get swallowed up by this. You will end up on the CBDC and a UBI, Universal Basic Income. And I think even a lot of the richest people that are rich now under the current financial system, they're going to end up on UBI in the future. A lot of them don't realize that this is going to happen. The only reason you know is because you're a crypto investor and because you do research like this. You find this. And I think it's only meant to maybe even give the crypto investors a warning like, hey, if you continue to hold your crypto, maybe you're going to become part of the new 1% because you're investing in the system that's going to replace the current system. XRP is the future. XLM is the future. HBAR is the future. There's only a handful of these cryptocurrencies for a reason. But it all starts with BlackRock. And I really think BlackRock and Ripple, most likely Larry Fink and Brad Garlinghouse, talk behind the scenes. I mean, it's way too coincidental. They have too many ties to the elites. The agenda's the same. Even with Ripple, you know, it's all about going green, pushing the green agenda. We see Chris Larson doing that all the time. Ripple also pushing towards digital identity. BlackRock pushing towards tokenized identity. They want to tokenize people. You know, everything that BlackRock is doing, Ripple is doing, because they're all tied to the same people, the elites that sit way above them. And that's why I always told you, you're invested in the right cryptocurrency. All you got to do is be smart enough not to sell it all. Don't worry about the prices as we go higher. You know what the future is. You're holding it. And until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.